So Hamza yesterday pull up the sorry, had this live and he was challenging keyboard warriors. Let's be having you. Okay, and I decided to call in.
I've seen this guy for ages.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Hello. Okay, sure. 1 second, please, because I have probably open. One second. Yes, sorry about that. I had YouTube open. Yes, you said, Hamza, in a latest short video you made, that Islam is the supreme guidance.
Yeah.
Yet we see many groups. For example, the Taliban think that women should
I'm
not be educated.
not concerned about the teachings of Islam.
I
can quote you any religion you like. I can quote you any religion you like, any ideology you like, and I'll bring you bad people from it.
Yeah, but wait just a moment. Now yes, but even people that you have in your life and you consider friends and so on, like Daniel Hahihatul, also believes that women should not be.
I'm not going to start speaking about my brothers.
So first, Hamza Myatt makes the claim that Islam is the supreme guidance, but he doesn't want to acknowledge groups like the Taliban, guided by Islam, create sick societies, calling them just bad people. Then I point out to him that the person he calls brother, he praises and brings in his show, Daniel Hahihachu, also have the same view, that women should not be educated. Yet he just said that people who believe that are just bad people. So is Daniel, who you call brother and you bring in your show, just a bad person? It just happens the Taliban and Daniel, because of bad character, just happen to conclude that women should not be educated. And this has nothing to do with Islam.
You know what? I don't believe in women's education. She kind of looked shocked back at me, stunned like I was from a different planet. Many of you watching this are probably just as confused as my wife was that night. But after I explained to her exactly why I don't believe in women's education and my Islamic reasons for this, she came to fully agree with me. I hope the same will be the case with everyone listening today. My position in this debate is simple. Pursuing education empowers women, but Islam is against empowering women. I know this sounds shocking to some, but hear me out. What I mean by empowerment is increasing social status and power through education or career.
A man who needs no introduction. Daniel Haqiqatjou is a person who synthesizes Islamic knowledge with his studies in philosophies. What he does quite effectively is he synthesizes his secular knowledge and with classical Islamic knowledge that he's also acquired through training.
But wait, Hamza, there is also another bad person that happens to be your friend. This guy.
Are Taliban good or bad? Now, those of you that have the attention span of a goldfish, a conclusion is going to be, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know. Okay, but there's so many different variables. Okay, so the media is emphasizing that the women won't be able to go to school. Yeah, they'll be drilling this in. However, it's failing to highlight that the girls are already back to school.
When I wake up in the morning and the alarm gets out of warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time. By the time I grab my books and I give myself a look, I'm at the corner just in time to see the bus fly by. It's alright, 'cause I'm saved by the bell. If the teacher pops a test, I know I'm in a mess, and my dog ate all my homework last night. Riding low on my chair, she won't know that I'm there. If I can hand it in tomorrow, it'll be alright. It's alright, 'cause I'm saved by the bell.
codziennie.
Alcohol is poison. It shouldn't be on our shelves.
I agree that it's a lot more readily available
It's
than
poison.
it should be.
It's poison. It's poison. Right. Gambling is poison. And now I used to love gambling before I was a Muslim. I used to work in the bookies.
Mm-hmm.
Now I used to watch people gambling their money away. But you know the worst thing about these poisons? There's 5 poisons: drugs, alcohol, gambling, sexual immorality, and interest. These are the 5 poisons in every society, right?
So Islam, according to Hamza Myatt, is living in the West but not drinking and gambling. That is Islam. The Taliban has nothing to do with Islam. They are just bad people. So living in a society made by the exact opposite values Islam preaches, and just having facial hair, that is Islam. But the Taliban, who read the Quran like an instructions manual, they have nothing to do with Islam. They are just bad people. Seriously, that is what you like us to believe. The West and you having facial hair is real Islam, and Afghanistan has nothing to do with Islam. Really. It just happens your brother that you bring in your show and you praise agrees with them. It just happens. But has nothing to do with Islam. Then you said something about interest rates being one of the 5 poisons. Erdogan agrees with you. Go and see in Turkey what this supreme Islamic guidance did to the Turkish lira. See a documentary. Yesterday in your life, you made almost 400 pounds. I was there in 2 hours. You know what's the salary in Turkey? This is a salary. They apply your Islamic guidance in economy and they make less than what you made in 2 hours in the evil capitalism. So that is the Islamic guidance, Hamza Myatt, the supreme guidance in the real world. That is how it looks. So first you claim Islam is supreme guidance, yet you present Western societies with Islamic dress codes as Islam. At the same time, you hinder to acknowledge Islamic societies have something to do with Islam, naming them just bad people.
Socrates Son again.
Hey.
What do you want again?
Hey, hello. Yes, sorry, I will not mention specific people. You said about something that the Quran is good guidance. If I go to the Quran...
I said Islam is the best way of life for mankind.
Yeah, but that is not apparent.
Mind, body, and soul.
Yeah, let me read you a Quranic verse, and you will tell me whether...
Don't wish it.
Okay, what you like? You like something else? You can...
No, because you're just going to read a Quranic verse that you've got some twist in it, or you've read some twisted website about it, and you think it's something bad.
What I'm saying is that in Islam, you believe in eye for an eye. Isn't that right?
I'll say it again to you. You're going to read a verse from the Quran.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're going to give it a twist of your own, or a twist from some twisted website you've got it off.
So,
and then I'm going to listen to you explain to me about my Quran and my Islam.
Yes, but that implies, Hamza, wait a moment. That implies that it's not really good guidance because you can understand something else from the Quran.
No, it's your stupid understanding, that's all.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I read what... Okay, so why won't we read the Quran?
Read the verse. Read the verse.
Okay, so it's 2:178.
Yeah, so?
All you have believed, prescribed for you is legal retribution for those murdered. The free for the free for the free, the slave for the slave, and the female and the woman for the woman.
Right.
So do you believe that if you kill my slave, I should kill your slave?
No.
Okay, so how is that good guidance?
Okay, I'll say it again to you. I said Islam. I'm not a Quran onlyist. Okay. So we have verses in the Quran that is elaborated upon by the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. Yeah, we know in Islam you don't need to. If someone murders my daughter, I don't have to murder their daughter. I can take blood money. Yeah.
Yes, but
okay. No. It's nothing more or less than your stupid misunderstanding. That's all it is.
Yes, but guidance implies also communication. Isn't that right? Because if let's say
for the last time, open your ears when I speak. We do not take 1/3 of the Quran and make a jurisprudence ruling from. Do you understand that? Do you understand that point?
Yes, but okay. So
right.
Yes, but
so
listen to what I'm saying now.
Islam say? What do the scholars of Islam say with regards this retribution? What does this say?
Eye for an eye. They insist to eye for an eye.
So you don't. So I'll repeat myself. You ain't got a clue what you're talking about.
So
I hate it when someone comes to try to tell us about Islam and what it means and understanding it. Just mental. And they think they got a gotcha moment. Conor McGregor. Where's Khabib?
What's up, man?
I'm cool, man.
It's so funny that.
What do you want? I didn't. Remind me. Send location. This is the thing, Yusuf. They don't know what they're talking about. They're absolutely puddled. They have no idea. And I get it. They think this is Islam, and people are crazy to be part of that. But it's not Islam. But I'm not going to explain Islam and every single jurisprudence to them. It's not my job.
Yes, Hamza, we know Islam is you living in the West and having facial hair. That is Islam. But let's see now. Let's go to the actual verse, Hamza.
The law of equality is prescribed to you in cases of murder, the free for the free, the slave for the slave, the woman for the woman. But if any remission is made by the brother of the slain, then grant any reasonable demand and compensate him with handsome gratitude.
Hamza Myatt said about Allah and His supreme guidance, you cannot understand not even a single sentence in the Quran. Namely, O you who believe, prescribed for you is legal retribution for those murdered, the free for the free, the slave for the slave, and the female for the female. Unless scholars explain that to you, you cannot understand what that means. Therefore, admitting Islam is not really what Allah guides, but what the people who interpret Allah guide. There is a huge difference. So let's see the graph. So we have the source, Allah, as Hamza says. Okay. But then we have the intermediaries, scholars, that filter this message. And then we have the target, the people. So let's hear again what Hamza said.
Our creator that created us knows what harms, what benefits us. So what we can say at this point is that the creator would be the source of supreme guidance.
Yeah.
And the source of objective morality, universal morality that applies to every human being, irregardless of culture, custom, place in the world, time in the world.
No, it's not regardless, because as you just admitted, we need scholars, intermediaries. So culture, place in the world, all that plays a role in these exegesis.
It would all be irrelevant now, because the creator is beyond time and space, would have to be, if it created time and space.
Yes.
Yeah.
So your argument about supreme guidance is over, according to your own admission. The difference between secular societies and Islamic societies is, in the one case, people use their reason and conscience to understand the world. In the other case, in the second case, people use their reason and conscience to understand the world through the filter of a book. In both cases, we have the human limitations. And in fact, in the second case, we have more human limitations because you filter your reasoning and conscience.
Therefore, it would know what's best for its creation. Agreed?
Yes.
Yes, God might know what's best for his creation. How about the intermediaries? Do they know? So your argument is invalid. Second thing Hamza admitted in our short exchange was that the Quran is terrible in communication. It literally, according to him, cannot even communicate a single sentence without the help of scholars. So how is that supreme guidance? Let me give you another graph. Okay, that's a simple graph. Okay. So guidance is source and communication. Without communication is not guidance. Isn't that right? I might have the best ideas in the world. If I cannot communicate them, then I'm not guiding them. Isn't that right? What if I want to say don't murder and I say blah 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 blah? Or do? Am I guiding the object? No, I'm not guiding because my communication is terrible. So communication is an essential part of guidance. You just admitted Allah is horrible in communication, therefore not a good guidance. Simple. Now, Hamza said I should look the scholars what they said about this verse. He is right. The scholars obviously understand the problem with this verse and they try to rationalize away the problem. And they say, believers, retribution is prescribed for you in cases of killing. If a free man is guilty, then the free man. If a slave is guilty, then the slave. If a female is guilty, then the female. What God says here is that the killer ought to be put to death irrespective of his status. Okay. Yet, that is a wrong interpretation. Okay. That is a whitewash. That is the Islamic scholars using their reasoning and deceiving people because they understand the horrible mess of the verse. But let me tell you why you cannot have this kind of interpretation unless you admit the Quran is in error. Okay, first let's see the direct translation. O you who believe, prescribed for you the legal retribution in the case of murder. The free for the free, the slave for the slave, and the female for the female. That is what the verse says. God, in contradiction to humans, he is eternally wise. He had eternity to think, and he is supposedly eternally competent in delivering a message. So he doesn't just throw words without reason. So when he says the slave for the slave and the woman for the woman, can he possibly mean the free for the woman and the woman for the slave? No, without a clear error in communication. Without error in communication, this verse can only mean if you kill my slave, I kill your slave. Okay, therefore, slave for the slave. If you kill my woman, I kill your woman. And therefore, woman for the woman. The interesting thing is that in the tafsir, indirectly, they admit that the people of the time were practicing that. Let's read. Maldudi says, in the pre-Islamic Arabia, people tried to take blood revenge upon the murderer's family and tribe, and the retaliation corresponded to the value placed on the blood of the victim. Their desire for revenge was not quenched merely by putting the murderer to death. They preferred to put to death tens and even hundreds of people to avenge the one life they had lost. So, the tafsir admits that the people of the time had this mindset. So, the most logical thing to assume is also the people who wrote the Quran. That was exactly what they meant. And it not just happens. The eternal, omnipotent God that had eternity to think and he's eternally competent. Just make this kind of silly errors. He cannot communicate a simple sentence an 8-year-old can communicate. So the first explanation is more logical. Now, my accusation for Hamza is first, he deceives people, that Islamophobes are presenting their own interpretation of Islam to make it look bad. Isn't that what he said to me?
I hate it when someone comes to try to tell us about Islam and what it means and understanding it. Just mental. And they think they got a gotcha moment.
Yet he invites in his podcast people who call for the death of apostates, violations of human rights, offensive jihad, and for the implementation of a theocratic dictatorship with barbaric punishments, that is torture. And he doesn't cut them off or corrects them like he did with me. Instead, he calls them brothers and calls all that supreme guidance. The other thing that annoyed me is that he called me weird.
I've seen this guy for ages.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Yes.
Hello? Okay, sorry. 1 second, please, because I have probably... Why you said that? I'm not weird. I'm just like every other normal person. What's up with that?
Call out in the middle of the night. Oh, where else would I hear you? Call out in the cold starlight. I can save you if you do. You will never walk alone. You can always reach me. You will never ever walk alone. Little sunshine, call me Memphis, police. When you feel wrong, just call me Little sunshine. Middle of the day. Light up in the middle of the day. For all else could you see me? Ease up to the hunter from the prey and transform indefinitely. You will never walk alone. You can always reach me. You will never ever walk alone. Little sunshine, call me Memphis, the police. We'll be wrong, just call me Little sunshine. You'll never walk alone. You can always reach me. You will never ever walk alone. You will never walk alone. You can always reach me. You will never ever walk alone. You will never walk alone. You can always reach me. You will never ever walk alone. Even when you're dead and gone, you can always reach me. All you gotta do is call me. Call Little sunshine.
So I was